and starting up a production.
So a little about us. I was born in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and in 2007 I moved over to the U.S. But I moved to Austin. But yeah, so growing up, I was always really into movies. That was mainly due to my uncle who would pretend to be my brother and I's dad and sneak us into rated R movies. So I watched a lot of movies that I should have been watching when I was a kid, but I feel like that kind of really influenced my interest in, I guess, videography and I guess, movies in general. But I also really like cars and I really like drawing. Um, but yeah, as kind of like the common thing with first generation immigrant families, my parents wanted me to go into STEM. So I ended up going to engineering. I did it for about 2.5 years. And you can probably guess I was absolutely miserable. I didn't enjoy it at all. So about, yeah, 2.5 years in, I decided to switch majors to College of Arts and Sciences. So I switched to telecom, and that's where I had my first class with Joey. I think actually I was introduced to Joey by Marco, I believe. I think we went to like the very, very first meal lab meeting too, so that was cool to kind of see that growth. Yeah, so during my junior year of college, I kind of started to explore my interest more in media and arts. So I did a lot of film photography, and something that you'll kind of notice with me and even with Marco is a lot of the stuff that we do is related to skateboarding. We'll probably go into that deeper later on. But yeah, so I did a lot of photography. I took pictures of cars. I just really like cars. I would go to Circuit of the Americas in Austin. That was one of my favorite places in the world. I just go around taking pictures. Just another picture. This is actually a poster that we have some posters for y'all. We have some. But yeah, so as I kept exploring my interest in the arts, I decided to go into videography. And this is one of my very first videos I ever made. I made this on my iPhone SE. I bought this little attachable fisheye lens. That was kind of what I had at the time, so I decided to just try something.
Down. Even down very now. I was long shot. I'm thinking. Sounds like it's not about the same thing.
But yeah, as you can see, nothing too crazy, just something really simple. I just kind of wanted to explore something that I was interested in and kind of practice recording and editing, so nothing too crazy.
All right, so then my story, it's not too different from Alazar's, although I wasn't born in a different country. I was born here in Texas, Houston, where I was born and raised. Growing up, I was like a huge fan of cartoons and like video games, anime. Like after I discovered the Game Boy, like I never stopped playing games. I was like super into Pokemon, Call of Duty on the 360. I don't even know, but also like with watching cartoons, this is kind of like a funny story that my mom always brings up, that I wouldn't blink when I was watching a show because I just thought that I was gonna miss something. And then I would be like super close to the TV, maybe like this close. And then that would just like make her really upset, and she blames my bad eyesight on those days. And honestly, she's probably right, but looking back, I think it was worth it. I had a lot of fun watching those cartoons. But then when the time came around to like go to high school and like college, I still wasn't really too sure exactly what I wanted to do. As a kid, I always wanted to be a veterinarian because I really just like dogs. But after like taking a few of those like health classes in high school and stuff like that, I figured that that's probably not going to be my thing. And I ultimately decided to go to A&M, and I ended up at the College of Arts and Sciences as well. I chose communication just because I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do yet, but I figured, hey, like everyone communicates, so I'm sure I can find something there that I like. And yeah, I also didn't like it. Like my first year, it was actually like pretty horrible because all my friends, they went to different schools. They went to like UT Austin, or they stayed at UH, and I felt pretty lonely. But then there was like a miracle. Something happened, something crazy. Like, wow. I took this Calm 230 course with that guy sitting right there, Joey Lopez, and I actually really enjoyed it. That's the first time that I had to do like some kind of video project for a class, and I just like really fell in love with it, I guess. And that same year, I started to meet some pretty cool people. As you can see, this is an old picture of me and Alzar, and a couple other friends that we still like keep in touch to this day. But once I took that class with Joey, I realized that it was just videography was something that I was really interested in and wanted to pursue a bit more. So this is like one of my first ever projects for Joey. I don't think it's the first one, but it's one of the first. I'll play a little bit of it because it's kind of long, but just so you can see.
And you play a good amount of it if you want.
Okay.
We got time. Plus, I like it.
Thank you.
Yo, what are you thinking? That's not skateboarding. Let me show you what this beauty's all about. Roll the clip.
Let's come along. My lonely days are over. And life is like a song. At last. The sky are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover. The night I looked at you. I found a dream that I could speak to. Sit back, relax, don't smile. Break right on down. Boom, me. The project. Take all the because I can't be shit for framing it for the force that like that. If you want to try to flip instead of all, get it all, let it all like a gat. I want to break full cup me back. Small change, they put the change in there.
What, are you okay? You're thinking why now?
Yes, yeah.
He's laid out, dude.
Alright, so as you saw, we were both pretty into skating, so that's kind of how we met and we bonded as friends. And we stayed in touch with each other. We actually ended up like rooming together the year after we first met. So we lived in the same dorm, and we always knew that we had similar interests with in regards to like videography and photography, but we never, for some reason, decided to work together to collaborate. But we would just do small challenges here and there, like, okay, this Friday we have to make a random video and we have to try like a new edit or a new effect and then see what happens. So we did that for a little bit, just slowly improving our skills and experimenting, just having fun. And then we just kind of like went our separate ways, like career-wise. I started working at a couple of different jobs on campus. I worked for the Department of Communication with Joey Lopez, and then I also worked for 12 Man Productions. And then I also started up a couple of YouTube channels and was just, you know, doing my own thing there. And then Alzar, he started working at KMU, which is like a station here.
So yeah, I think this is my sophomore year. I got a job as a production assistant, at the TV station here. And I think, this is probably one of the best things that happened to me in terms of learning skills or learning, because, when I was learning inside of classrooms, I was able to learn quite a bit, through working there. And throughout the years, I was able to gain a lot of experience and I got promoted and then eventually, now I'm doing this as my full-time job. Some highlights include getting to fire king. But yeah, overall it was a good time.
For most of the time, it was a good time because
Yeah, so, one fateful day, I was having a pretty bad day at work, and I was just kind of, thinking about like all the stuff that I wanted to do, all the projects I had in mind, and, all the stuff that I felt like I couldn't do at work. And this is something that me and Mark have been talking about for, since we met each other, but we never really acted on. So one day I was just like, all right, let's start like our own production company. And luckily Marco said yes.
So we finally decided to join forces. And then we actually weren't even like around each other at the time because this is after we graduated. And we had our first meeting trying to decide like what we wanted to be, how we wanted to go about like our branding, things like that. And I actually don't remember this, if this first meeting was very productive, but it just got the ball rolling. And luckily we got to know a few people here on campus, like Joey and Zaino, and then they would help us out by, pointing us in the right direction, saying like where we can get work and things like that. And this is actually us, at this conference last year. We had a booth just like right over there.
Right there.
But we weren't speaking, we were just still kind of figuring things out, how we wanted to run the company. And yeah, find that out. But now, roughly a year later, we kind of have things figured out now and know like what we want to do. So we specialize in like doing short films, live events, commercials, and music videos. And we just like reached 100 followers, so that was like really cool. That was recently. This is our Instagram page, and then this is our website. But we've got to work on like a lot of cool projects throughout just 1 year, and we're gonna go ahead and show you a quick demo.
Oh.
Who's that?
Yeah, as you can see, like, I think it was, really important that we showed like some of our first videos that we ever did, because you kind of, the difference is quite like clear. When we first started off, there was a lot that we didn't know. I think for the couple years, that we've been doing this, we've learned so much, just doing our own thing. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about how we kind of improved our like media making skills. And for the most part, we were both self-taught, so we learned a lot online. Luckily, we had people pushing us, like our professors and just each other, that kept us motivated to continue growing. But here are some tips. So you shouldn't limit yourself, and you should literally just go for it. If you've always had the idea of like, oh, maybe I can make a video, maybe I would like to make a video, like I could probably make up something cool. I say you should just go for it because honestly, no one's really gonna care. Everyone just sees so much stuff on social media. If you make a bad post, people are gonna forget about it like 10 seconds later after they scroll past it. So yeah, just go for it. Also, use whatever you have. As you can see in our first videos, and as Alzar mentioned, he used just his iPhone to film like that skate video. And then I actually use one of his cameras later on for the video that I showed you guys. And then also, we've been able to, borrow resources from different people that we know. So here with Joey at the Media and Gaming Lab, like there's a lot of places where you can go and maybe people that you know that have equipment that you would be able to use. And you should also really experiment with different forms of digital media. Try not to like limit yourself and stick to one niche or like one area like graphic design or photography, just because I feel like you might find that you have a lot more fun trying doing something else, or something else comes a lot more easier to you. And it just also helps you to like broaden your skill set. So
Yeah, and like going along with like, just like the learning process, a lot of stuff that we do, we didn't learn through our classrooms, like, very, like, one of the only classes I ever did anything video related was Joey's class, and that was about it. So a lot of the stuff that we learned, was through just online resources, mainly just YouTube, like any softwares or programs that we could find, and then courses, and just also just, any forums or anywhere you can get like answers to like questions. So there's like so many, options that you have nowadays.
Yeah, and then here at A&M, there's also a lot of like in-person resources that you can use. So there's the Media and Gaming Lab, where there's like a bunch of computers and like, I don't even know, like things for making music, things like that. There's also a recording studio. I know in Evans, I'm not sure if it's still there, but when I was still a student, on like the top floor, they had the top floor of the annex, I believe. There was like a green screen room. They also had like Final Cut Pro on some computers, like some Macs back there. And that's actually like how I got started. I learned Final Cut Pro, but it doesn't really matter what program you use because a lot of the skills are like transferable. A lot of them, it's just the layout that looks different, but essentially they're all the same. And then, yeah, so the computer lab, if there's access, well, if you have access here. And then there's discounts as programs, on programs. If you're a student, like you should really take advantage of that just because software like Adobe, if you're, oh man, if you're not a student, they charge like $50 a month, which is like really stupid. But if you are a student, you can get like 30, it's like $30, which is still a lot, but I mean, something like a small discount is better than no discount. But also, there's also free programs, so it's up to you.
I think for me personally, and I think Marco might even agree with this, one of the most valuable things that you get from going to like university or college is, in my opinion, it's not like what you're learning in the classrooms, it's mainly like the people that you meet. Because I think for me and Marco, like we met Joey, and through Joey, we met Dr. Campbell, Dr. Connor, Zaina, and just through those people that we met, we've had so many opportunities, that were extremely valuable to us. So I would, if you are a student here, I would highly encourage you to take advantage of like the resources and people around you for sure.
Yeah, so if you're going to school, definitely try and like join some orgs and things like that that are related to your passion. But if you aren't going to school anymore, there's also places online that you can go ahead and meet people. Like I know we mentioned Discord earlier, but I seriously think that that's a good resource. I'm in a couple of Discords where honestly, I don't even know what these people look like. I just know their like profile picture and it's usually like a cartoon or like some anime or something. But everyone's just like really interested in learning and experimenting with new like digital media. So yeah, you could just talk to people online and then like push each other, help each other out. Oh, also like on Reddit, if you ever have like some kind of technical difficulties, whatever program that you're using, there's probably a forum. And if you post in there, there's gonna be like some super genius that knows how to fix it. So that's just like a tip, I guess. Yeah, and then whenever you're creating content, just try and streamline the process as much as you can. Figure out like what works best for you, how you do, how you like plan ideas and like turn them into reality. For example, for me, the process that I go through is like I think of an idea and then I kind of had to write the script for it, and then I'll go to storyboard, and then that goes to editing and filming. And that's kind of my process. But whatever works best for you, just make sure that you stay organized because that just really helps things out. After you get your first few projects done, you kind of get a feel for the way that you like to do things. And if you just keep that pattern, it like really helps to make things go a lot faster. You can also create presets in different programs that you're working in. For example, in After Effects, if there's like a really common twist effect that you use all the time, you can actually save it into a preset so that you don't have to recreate the edit like with every single new project. It just helps things go faster. And then there's also like plugins for different programs, presets, and templates that you can use to help you speed up your workflow. And this is something that I strayed away from, or like I stayed away from for a while. And I was like highly against it. I was like, nah, like I'm gonna do things my own way. But honestly, these, they help out so much, and sometimes, yeah, it'll be like 10, 15 bucks, but in the long run, it's an investment in yourself, sort of, and your work, so it's definitely worth checking.
So I think biggest advice I'd have for anyone that's about to graduate, is to not stop learning. I think for me, as soon as I graduated, I got a full-time job. I was working 9 to 5, and for like months, I would just go to work, come home, and then just go to bed or just play video games or whatever. It can be extremely easy to just fall into a pattern of just going to work and then doing nothing at home. And if you're someone that's like passionate about something, like, you know, especially if it's something that you're currently not doing in your day job, it's very important to make time to learn, and to even just like take on personal projects, even if you're not making any money. A lot of the like initial projects that me and Marco did, we did it for free, and mainly because it was like a great learning experience for us, and we learned a lot just from doing stuff for free. So don't be afraid to do stuff for free for sure. Yeah, and just like always try to like be learning even after you graduate.
Yeah, and I think a good like place to, or a good thing to try would just be making YouTube videos. Just because there's not much, like you don't, if it doesn't pop off, you don't like lose really anything, and you only have like things to gain from it. So that's kind of what I did. That's the route that I took. I started like my first YouTube channel whenever I was still in college. But it was like about tech related stuff, and honestly, I'm not really too interested in doing that kind of thing anymore. So I started a different channel called Moco Media, and with that one, I just did like a lot more experimental videos, and it's just been a lot of fun. And I think that it really has helped me like learn a lot of new skills, like especially with motion graphics, because um, everything, it's just like I don't film anything. It's just all assets that I like picked online and edited. So it just like really forced me to work on all aspects of video production, from like the script writing to recording audio to, you know, like making the visuals, things like that. And you never know, it could pop off. Like my channel, it's doing pretty good, I'd say. But for the first, I want to say 8 months, the YouTube video that I dropped initially got like 100 views, and after that, it just like blew up out of nowhere, like overnight. And now it's sitting at almost 200K. But like that first initial 8 months, there was literally like no views, no attention, no nothing. And I just woke up one day and I saw like the analytics that it was like 30K. And then like the next day, like that whole month, it was just like more views, more views, more views. And like, I don't know, I think that just goes to show that if you, I don't know, if you put out good stuff, like eventually it'll be rewarded, or you'll be rewarded. Because after that first video, I still made a couple more, maybe like 2 or 3, and they also got like no views. But I just was consistent and I kept making more and more. And now, yeah, we're sitting at like 2.6K subs, so I'm happy on that. But yeah, just keep grinding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a resource sheet. If you want to go ahead and scan the QR code, it has like a lot of different channels that I learned like how to use After Effects or Premiere or Blender from. So these are all just different people that will teach you how to use these video making programs, and it's honestly like super helpful. This is like how I learned and how I continue to learn is just online through YouTube. So definitely check this out.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Is it a Google Doc?
Yeah.
You probably just need to unrestrict it and make that link open to anyone. Don't worry, you can get it after this.
Okay.
As long as you got that link in 5 minutes after you fix it, you can just refresh, it'll come up.
Okay. Well, yeah. If there are any questions or comments.
Any questions, comments?
I have a question. Do you have any big scale projects that are like, that take like 6 to a year, like that you have in mind that you're gonna plan for?
Yeah, we have a couple of short films that we've worked on. One's a music video that we've been doing with one of our roommates. Those have been, I think one of them was like almost a year of progress. But yeah, nothing too crazy as of now. We recently finished, one of our biggest projects, it's like 2 months ago, for the Fire Arts Festival, which we're gonna show that later on. And that video, was extremely challenging, but it's like very rewarding. It was very long hours, but hopefully I'll stick it on and get to see it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes with working with different artists or different people on projects, sometimes things are gonna take a little bit longer than expected, just because everyone has their own like vision and like idea of how they want things to go. But honestly, like after working on a couple projects, that's to be expected now, and I think it's just part of the process and something that you can like learn to enjoy. And I think it's really fun, like whenever you make something, but then you have to show it to like the artist that you're working with, and then they want to tweak it and like revise it. But it's just makes the final product like that much more, I don't know, that much better and like nicer to see because you went through all that hard work. So if things take time, like I would recommend not getting frustrated.
Anybody else? Oh, go ahead.
I know you guys talked earlier about the privacy. And I want, you all have any like, really kids, I know, I think you guys like work separately and I know beginning because of this. So how do you deal with like collaborating with partners, but getting organized, even though this is not all time?
Yeah, I feel like that's still something we're kind of figuring out like as we speak. I think right now, the main thing that we use to collaborate, I guess, is we have like a bunch of drawings that we carry around everywhere. We like trade projects and stuff. So we're still kind of figuring out the workflow for that, but I think the main thing is just communicating. I think that's very important. I think Mark and I have been friends for a while now, so we got that down pretty well. So that helps us out a lot.
We have like monthly meetings, I'd say, where we just kind of get together and we talk about, I guess, the future of the company and how things are going, like what we want to rework and things like that. So I think those are really, really helpful in determining, well, and just progressing the company. And yeah, I mean, we just communicate like through our phone, but we also live together, so it's like really easy to just go to the next room and just be like, yo, what do you think about this? So that really helps out.
What's y'all's favorite project that y'all worked on? It doesn't have to be like the grandest, but what's y'all's favorite?
That's very much, especially since there's a couple people we work with. I think for me, I would say the fire arts one, but just because that one is like the most challenging one that we've done so far. And I think I really like how that turned out, but I mean, I feel like I've enjoyed every project that we've done so far, especially with Dr. Campbell and Dr. Connor. We've had some great opportunities.
Yeah, I hate to pick the same answer, but I think that's what it's gonna be. It was just a fun, yeah, challenge because we went in not really knowing anything about this whole like area. It's called Fire Arts Festival, but it's basically people that are like trying to recreate different ways that jewelry was made in the past. So they made like really old school furnaces and we're like burning different metals and seeing the results. So I have like no background in that. So it was just really interesting to like learn like on site and learn as we went. And it was also a challenge, but it was fun.
My favorite was about my dog. But that's one that was great. This is more of a comment. I think I appreciate what y'all said here. Especially in terms of like, you know, these resources and going out and figuring out, going into Reddit, which I've done 1,000 times, to try to figure out something so obscure and difficult. And I appreciate that a lot because I'm teaching the class that you all met in. I'm teaching comm technology skills.
That's a great class.
But the way that I'm doing it is I'm in Leo's in my class, I'm teaching 3-act story structure, script writing, media planning. So you ticked all the boxes with like you know, I come up with an idea, and then I kind of get a script together, and then I storyboard, they even storyboard, they have an activity for storyboarding. So I just appreciate that, because one of my comments, I'm a PhD student, but I also teach. One of my comments on my evaluation was like, felt like I was teaching myself. Well, I can't teach you all of Da Vinci.
Yeah.
I can't teach you After Effects. You have to have some sort of like, go out and do this and figure some of the technology out. So thank you for, bringing that into the conversation today.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like kind of our experience as well. We were pushed to, you know, try out these different programs and things like that, but it was kind of on us to continue learning and continue like, yeah, adapt or and just continue learning the programs like on our own time to just get better.